What is up, everyone? I know it's been a while. Haven't been. It's been a few weeks. I know I posted a video about a review I was gonna be doing. Say, in the next couple days, and it being the next couple weeks. But I don't know. Just busy with the kids and Christmas coming up. So I apologize for the very long hiatus. But I am back with another review. We're gonna be looking at the Spyderco Tenacious. There's a sweet little blade here. You can actually, it's a good, I would consider like a good entry Spyderco. Some of their prices can, be up, 100 plus, 200. But this here you can get for under $50. They do have a couple versions. There is one that goes a little over 50. But this is a great knife, I think, for most people. It's very utilitarian. The steel is, it's not bad. It's steel. But this is a sweet blade. It has awesome materials. And I think it's a knife that pretty much any and everyone will enjoy. So let's take a look at that right there. So, just start off, we'll do some of the specs on it. So this is an 8CR13 MOV blade. I know, I get it, I do. But, I mean, it could be worse. At least it has a name. A lot of steels, you don't get names on them. And, I have a few 8CR13 blades. It's not the worst steel in the world. It doesn't stay sharp forever, but it takes a pretty good edge. I do have to say that. Yeah, you got to sharpen it fairly frequently, depending what you're doing, but I don't know. That really doesn't bother me too much. And I know, too, for the price, but you're also getting some other higher-end materials. You're getting G10 handles, bronze phosphor bushings. You got tip up, tip down, left and right side capability, pretty good clip. And I just love the overall shape and design of this. We'll get into the specs, though, like I said, or more specs. So we have an overall length of 7 3/4 inches, and an actual cutting edge, or blade length and cutting edge, because they are about the same. Ooh, let me do it this way. We're looking at about 3 3/8, a little less than 3.5 inches, which is cool. That's actually good news for a lot of people. Legal limits in a lot of places are 3.5 inches, some are less. Check your local laws. Unless you want to be a badass and just carry it anyway, because this is America. But you got a sweet knife right here. What I really like is the blade runs the edge all the way up to the handle, so when you are holding it, there is next to no room, but you still have the way, you do have a little finger guard. Don't need to worry about sliding up on the blade. The texturing, it is G10. The texturing on it, to me, feels very reminiscent of the way they do the texturing on the G10 of the S30V. Paramilitary 2, reason I specify because I also have the 110V version. It's just a little rougher on the 110V version. Not a problem, I actually quite like it. But just something, so if you have a regular Paramilitary 2 and you don't have this, it's a good way you can kind of compare what they feel like. What I really like too is it's great for just, it's a flat grind, so it's a very, master of none, but jack of all trades grind, but I really like that. But you do get a nice amount of length on the blade, and it's not interrupted with, say like the Delica or Endura. Have both, love both, but I just don't like blank spots. I would rather just run up to the handle. Yeah, I understand, I get it. A lot of people with, sharpening, it'd be a pain in the ass. There's no choil, you can't always quite get in there, but for me, I would rather have a little bit of edge I can't get to, or have to spend a little more time to, than just having a blank spot I can't cut with. Just my own opinion. Some other people might feel different, but that is how I personally feel. But if you don't feel that way, that's absolutely fine. Let me know in the comments, and we can discuss that. I love hearing opposing ideas and different views, just because it makes everything fun and different. You get flow-through construction, and the milled-out liners, but it is full stainless steel liners. It's a tough knife. I've had this for, a year and a half, probably close to 2 years now. I carried it a lot more when I first got it, but leading up to wanting to do this, actually the last week or so I've been carrying my ZT, but prior to that, I've been carrying this. I've actually been carrying this and using this quite frequently for about a month. I started probably a week or two before I posted about the video on Instagram, and it's been good. You know, I mean, I haven't had to sharpen it since. I've had to sharpen it quite a few times, but I mean, popping the hairs right out, and it is a stainless steel. I mean, it's not the most stainless, you know. You get some rust on it a little bit, but it's not like a carbon steel. You don't have to put quite the maintenance in it, if it were. And yeah, it doesn't hold the edge forever, but I don't know. It just means I get to sharpen it more. It means I get to sharpen more. You know, but you know that's it also comes down to opinion. This one it is made in China, the Chinese factory, and they have done a really good job with it. I mean, you can see. Oh, they can kind of pick up. The blade is dead center in this in the handle. It There's no movement in it. Now, granted, I've disassembled and cleaned this probably at least 3, maybe 4 times in the entire time that I've owned it. But every time I've reassembled it, it's gone right back to true. When I first got it, it was dead center. And it's just very smooth. It doesn't take much. You can do a little Spidey flick, the middle finger. It doesn't take much effort at all. Like, it's smooth. It's a Spyderco. You know, it's what you expect. But it's cool because it, you know, like I said, it's kind of that entry-level Spyderco. I mean, they do have their budget line, the Bird line, BYRD, if you are interested. I do want to get some of those blades. I want to start doing a lot more, like, budget-type reviews, and I just want to check them out, because they make a lot of their standard versions, but they just make them more budget-wise. For example, they make the and they make like their own version of the Endura. They make their own version of like the Delica. They have a couple of like, you know, non-Spyderco like already designs, but it's cool. But instead of, you know, say VG10, you're getting HCR13, which yeah, but you're also paying a fraction. You're paying maybe $25 versus say $70 or $80. And they do have a couple versions I've noticed from looking online. They're putting BD1 in some of their, so that's pretty cool. But this here, it's pretty comfortable. Honestly, it fits my hand very well. You guys know I do have larger hands, and it's pretty comfortable. I mean, it's G10, which I do like G10 a lot. I actually generally prefer G10 to my Carta. And also, I forgot to mention, it is a liner lock. So, alright, yeah, it's not the compression lock or anything, but it's a liner lock. You know, it's still fun, good, it's very smooth, easy to use, and it just has a nice, like, click when it opens. It's very pronounced sound. One thing I did notice is kind of, I mean, I would say is like a full total negative, but when I first got it, it was just very squeaky. Like, it operated decent for the most part, but I just, you know, I took it apart, cleaned it up a bit, put some oil in there, and it leveled up the squeak. It just kind of had it sounded kind of like a squeaky door hinge, you know, just needed a little oil. But all gone now. Listen, I don't hear it, which is good. But also I did disassemble this before I started carrying it, because I wanted to get it in its best shape before I started doing all the usage. But honestly, my only real complaint with this knife, it's not even really the knife itself. I wish they offered this in other steels, because, I mean, so in this version right here, the way it is, check previous to this video, is going for about $42 as is, with the black G10, and every version I've seen is the HCR13, so we'll get back to that. That's my little complaint. But they have a brown version. It's like kind of like a coyote brown, and they have green, and they all range in that $40 to $45 range. Once or twice I've seen them in the high 30s, like 37, 38. It's only been once or twice though. But you know, if you search around, check different places. Like I said, this was just on Amazon that I got it. You can check other places, probably get a little cheaper. These also too, I've seen them at Walmart. You can usually get them at Walmart for around that like $42, $43. But what is kind of cool, or interesting, I guess, but for around, I think $50 or $55, you can get this with carbon fiber handles. So that's kind of cool. If you want like a budget, like gentleman knife, or if you want to try out, see if you don't have any carbon fiber carbon fiber handle knives and not sure how you're gonna feel, instead of dropping a couple hundred or $100 anyway. So it's not as big of as an investment. But just getting back, like I said, so it's HCR13. I wish they offered this platform in other steels. To me, I think this would be a big competitor to me with the paramilitary too. I mean, you guys know I love that knife. It's why I have two of them, and I want to get more. But for me, it doesn't have the finger choil like the paramilitary too. I know some people really like them. I'm kind of neutral on them, but I just wish the paramilitary 2 had a little bit longer blade length, and I feel like you would get close to a half-inch extra blade length. Now, the blade length on the paramilitary 2 is about 3 inches, which is fine. I usually like in the 3+ range, generally speaking, with folding knives, or that I carry a lot. But just the way this is designed and set up, I just love that extra blade length that just runs right up to the handle. Like, for $45, you can get this in HCR13. Like Spyderco, I'm pleading with you. Make this in VG10. Charge us $80. I will pay $80 for this. 85. Charge an extra $30-40. Make this in VG10. That would be sick. I mean, not even just that. Do it in that. Make it in a few different versions. Oh, excuse me. This hot nose is itching. Make this an S30V. Oh my god, that would be sick. S30V. I can see this going for about paramilitary 2 price. So depending where you look, 120, 130. So you can basically charge like an extra, like 80, 90, $100. Slap this with S30V. Oh man, that would be sick. It would be huge competition for my pocket with this and the paramilitary too. But they don't. I hope they do. We will see, I guess. But this knife, it's very useful. It's awesome. I've done a bunch of stuff with it, breaking up cardboard, especially, like I said, Christmas, cutting up lots and lots of stuff. But also, too, you guys, I kind of like messing around cooking and stuff like that. This thing, great slicing tomatoes and everything. I mean, granted, it's not the factory grind anymore. It is HCR13. I mean, I've probably sharpened this knife about a dozen times. And, I do like narrower edges versus, like, the more factory ones. Generally. But this thing is a great slicer, and the blade thickness, you really won't be able to tell on camera, but just showing, is right around 1/8 of an inch, and then it just tapers. And what's cool is it's a thin point. It's not as thin as the paramilitary 2, but it gives you a little bit of stoutness. Now, I mean, granted, S30V versus HCR13. I would imagine this would probably snap before the S30, but I don't worry as much if I have to do a little prying. Now, I'm not talking prying a door open, but, a lot of times, I drive older cars or whatever, doing stuff like opening fuse box panels and stuff, because a lot of times, some cars, they'll have a little place you can stick your hands in. They don't always. And it's not like, you just pop it open. Sometimes you got to use a little bit of force and get them open, and I wouldn't worry about it with this. This is just a fun knife. It's cool because it just offers itself to a lot of different people. This would be good for someone who's a collector. They just, they just have a few bucks. They want to just grab an extra knife to throw into the collection. Boom, you got it. Someone who's new to knives, they want to figure out some different styles, different things they might like, boom. Or if you want to get it as a gift for someone, even if there's someone that not like super into knives, but I mean, it's a liner lock. I mean, next to the back lock, it's probably one of the, most common locks or whatever. I feel like most people will know how to use a liner lock. At work, I carry my Benchmade. I'll let people use it. They just hand it back to me open. They're like, I can't figure out how to close it. When I carried my steel wheel cut jack, which is a liner lock, same thing, they would be able to close it without a problem. Now, that being said, I mean, yeah, if they made this a compression lock, that would be pretty sick. But it doesn't need it. If they did, it would be great. But as it is, I think it's really cool. I think a lot of people would get some good use out of it, and especially, too, where it is a lower price. It's just the blade steel that's, more budget, but all the other materials with it, you're getting like a mid little bit higher range knife. You're just getting a steel that you just need to sharpen or maintain a little more. And I think that's pretty awesome. So if I do lose this or if something happens to it, it's not going to break my heart. Well, it will in a different sense or whatever, because this was actually a gift knife. But no, my girl told me what she paid for it when she got it for me. But in that sense, sentimental wise, it would be sad. But in general, it's not a knife that I would be that worried if something happened to it. I mean, I love all my knives, so I mean, of course, I'll be sad because it's gone. But it's not like I, lose. I don't know, my Griptilian that I bought a month or so ago, and then that's $185 down the drain versus 40 or $45. Yeah, but I guess that all comes down to perspective. But it's fun to play with. It's very fidgety. That's what I like with the Spydercos. There we go. I just, especially with the Spidey hole, I actually have come to prefer that quite a bit over just regular thumb studs. I mean, I love, flippers are cool. Thumb studs, obviously, they're fine. But I just love you never have to worry about obstruction of your cutting path. And that's another thing, too, where, when the blade runs up to the handle, and if it has thumb studs, it can run into your path. Now, granted, yeah, 90% of the time it's not an issue, but if you're doing a lot of stuff, cutting up cardboard, opening like large boxes and stuff, and you're doing like long cuts or whatever, it's aggravating, it's annoying, it gets bound up and stuff. I mean, like at work, I cut a lot of shrink wrap, wrapping a lot of pallets. And you know what? The Benjamin, it is a great slice, especially with the edge that I put on it. But sometimes if I'm cutting like a long strip and it gets, I'll have this beautiful cut and then I just get all caught up in the thumb studs. So